Good morning, peoples. October the 18th, Sunday morning here. I'm going to have some pancakes. Every now and then you just got to have pancakes. And yes, I was naughty and ate lasagna in Chiang Mai and back to the fruit every frigging day. But, it's Sunday. Gonna have me some pancakes. 18th, if you know your own mind, you know enough to keep it always positive. You may not fully understand the complex process that causes electricity to be generated and transmitted to your home, but you understand very well how to apply and use it to illuminate your home, power your computer, and perform hundreds of other essential tasks. Well, yeah, you plug it into the wall. Okay, the same is true of your mind. No one understands the incredibly complex workings of the brain. We know only that when we use our mind in a certain way, we achieve a desired result. I'm not sure what they're getting at there. Use your mind in a certain way. I mean, solve problems? Yeah, but okay. If we think positively, we achieve positive results. All right, so kind of what they're saying is you're in control. You're in control of your own mind, and I agree with that. I didn't really get the use your mind a certain way, but okay, so they're saying don't allow negative thoughts in, focus on positive thoughts, and you'll be a better problem solver, which, yeah, I agree 150%. All right, guys, that's it. We're moving along, man. We're cranking. The year is almost over. For a lot of people, that's a good thing. I'm staying busy, looking at opportunities every day. For the music store, I found pedals. Pedals are kind of a big thing now. When they were out in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they were a big thing. All the really good musicians, Jimi Hendrix and Pete Townsend and Keith Richards, they all had, distortion pedals, fuzz pedals. Eddie Van Halen, he made the MXR P90 phase shifter. The orange box, famous, that sound, that Van Halen sound has an effect pedal on it. So they were really huge, I want to say, in the 60s, 70s, and a big part of the sound you hear on records. And then they kind of faded out. And Boss is a Japanese company, right? I'm in Southeast Asia, and they're in the 80s, probably even the 90s. Boss made hundreds of thousands of pedals, and they were cheap. I mean, I remember going to music stores in the 80s, 90s, and seeing Boss foot pedals for like $20, and they were kind of replaced by rack mount effects that went in a rack, and it's easier to move stuff around. Got away from the individual floor pedals, and then they got replaced ultimately by Zoom pedals, Boss pedals, and Line 6 pedals that kind of did everything. So you didn't need 30 frigging pedals anymore. You had one pedal, and that's what I had. I had in the 90s a Line 6 500 XT or something like that. Big ass pedal rig, but basically everything was computerized, and you turned a knob and could come up with a bunch of different effects. It mimicked them, some better than others. And it also did a really cool thing, which was imitate certain cabinets, like a 4x12, a 2x12, a single 8-inch, because some people were taking the old amplifiers, tweeds they call them, because it had like a tweed covering from Fender in the 50s, little small Champ, they're called. They have an 8-inch speaker or 6-inch speaker, little, and they're like 5 watts, 10 watts, small, and crank the hell out of them to get that breakup, that distorted sound, and then just put a microphone in front of them, because obviously 5 watts or 10 watts isn't enough to play, to play with a drummer even. So it's interesting how the industry changed, and they kind of went away from pedals. Then the purists, the boutique people, guys who buy expensive gear just because it's expensive and they want to show that they have it and their friends don't, got away from the Line 6 pedals and said, those aren't as good as the original. Well, I think they are. To my ear, they're pretty damn close, and it makes a lot more sense to have one pedal than 30, but whatever. Everybody's like, Stevie Ray didn't use a Line 6 pedal. He used an Ibanez Tube Screamer. So they went out and got an Ibanez Tube Screamer. So that initial $20, $30, $40 box, a piece of metal with some circuits up in it and a switch and some knobs, now goes for $300 and up for a friggin' metal box. It's absolutely ridiculous. There are collectors. There are people on the internet, YouTube, search it, that collect pedals and have all the different bright, shiny colors on their shelf behind them. Instead of books, they have pedals. So it's a thing. Again, what was old is always new, right? So if I'm going to have a music shop, I need to have pedals, even though I don't believe in them. I like the Line 6 better. To me, it solves all the problems. It's much more convenient to have one pedal, albeit a big one. Ugh, no coffee yet, sorry. It makes sense to have one pedal with everything on it to me, even if the sound isn't quite the same. I'm okay with that. I'm not a purist. It sounds good to me. The Marshall emulation through a Line 6 pedal or amp sounds like a Marshall to me. It gives me a nice crunchy tone. I'm happy with it. It lets me play a bunch of songs just by turning it knob. I'm good. But a lot of musicians, a lot of collectors, whatever, are into these pedals. So I was researching out and I found a Japanese store that sells old Boss pedals and others too, but mainly old Boss pedals, so I can get the original Overdrive, not expensive, back to what they were basically retail. 20, 30, 40 bucks I can get these pedals. So I'm going to get a shitload of them. I'm probably going to spend $5,000 US in pedals. But once again, that's it. I'm not going to do that every week or every month. That's the initial stock. So I have a nice showcase. People walk in and they see a bunch of pretty pedals because they're all different colors. If you look at the Boss pedals, they made them in, dark green, bright orange, yellow, red. They're very vibrant looking. So they look nice on a shelf. That's why people collect them. But it's a must-have for music stores these days. So my two biggest investments, once I get the space and build it out, are the 100 Japanese guitars, and then the I don't know how many pedals I'm going to buy, but it's going to be a shitload of pedals. It's going to fill up a showcase, like a display case, with a row, and then like some kind of raised platform or riser, made out of wood or whatever, something that lifts it up to the next level, and another row, maybe three. Not sure. Depends on how many pedals I get, but like I said, they have a shitload. Their inventory changes all the time. Basically, what I'll do with them is I'll buy the big batch in the beginning, lay them all out, and then as I sell one, I'll buy another one if they have it. If they don't, they don't. No big deal. There's nobody's going to walk in the store and say, I need a 1980s Boss Overdrive pedal. It's going to be they come into the store, pick a guitar off the rack, plug into an amp or pedal, they like it, they buy it. That's the way it works. So I'm going to do JIT, just in time ordering with these pedals, and for that matter, guitars. I plan to sell 50 guitars before I reorder, another 100. And mixed in with the second 100 will be, woodwinds, brass, banjos, drums, keyboards, everything else besides guitars, in addition to 50 guitars. So when that second order comes, I'll be back up to 100 guitars like I started with, plus I'll have other shit too, drums and whatnot. So that's why I need so much space in the store. That's why I'm looking for not your typical little Thai, narrow, small coffee shop, or clothes store, but like a pretty big retail space. So today's the 18th. We go back down to Chiang Mai on the 30th, and I'll be there for 6 days. So my mission, other than to relax and have a good time and light a big lantern and put it up in the sky, is to find my space. I definitely want to leave Chiang Mai this time with my space identified. Start making plans for the build out and all that. So that's it for today. That's what's in my mind. Once again, I can't help it. Yeah, I'm retired. I came here to retire, but COVID kind of fucked me up, right? By killing the business that I bought. Now it's still alive. It's not dead. It's limping along, but I'm subsidizing it out of my own pocket, right? That no bueno. So what I like about the music store is it doesn't rely on tourists. Right? We don't need the government to open up the country. We don't need people to come from other countries to make the music store successful. Its target market, its customer base is already in Chiang Mai. So, yep, fired up, excited, looking forward to getting that thing going, and I'll video it, of course. I'll put it on the channel. Talk to y'all later.